Good morning, everybody. So welcome back to the channel. Good morning, Wilson. So as where we left off in the last video, we had got the Gradall to crank over. We made all new battery cables for it, and we discovered that the button in the cab still works. So the wiring from the engine to the cab seems to be in pretty good shape. So now what we need to do is fuel lines and coolant lines. This bottom radiator hose is pretty tore up from the rodents eating it. Fuel line, return line is pretty chewed up from the rodents, and it's pretty bad up there on the other end. And then we have our fuel feed line that runs around over here to our filter base. It's not in bad shape, but it's going to get replaced. So we're going to do all those, and then we'll probably fix these couple wires here real quick. But this is kind of going to be a 2-video day, because I'm going to work on this for a little bit this morning, and then I'm going to go work on the Chapman family pond a little bit later this morning and let it warm up a little bit outside. And we're going to start tapering their banks. We're going to exchange some dirt for some topsoil out in their horse pasture. So there's going to be a lot going on there. So figured I'd start a video on this morning. This will probably get started this morning, and then we'll finish it up this evening because we're going to go work on that pond in between. So if you see the daylight in the windows turn to dark real quick on this video, that explains it. We didn't work in here all day. So we get started on this for a while, and then as soon as it gets a little sunny out, we're going to head out and go work on that pond. So Dad's strength's running a little late this morning, so it's just me for now. Me and old Wilson. So anyways, let's get started. Let's get these fuel lines off down here at the bottom where they run in the tank. And we need to drain this tank too. Problem is it's kind of swung. The drain is about right here, and that's right over the track right now. So it's kind of swung in the wrong direction to be draining the fuel in it. But I might have to find like a piece of rain gutter or something to put on that. And oh, it's a different size. It's fine. I have to find a piece of rain gutter or something to throw under there. Oh, 11/16. My bad. And to get that fuel where we want it. The tank's pretty much full. That's the bad part. So now there's a couple clamps I got to take off on the inner frame. And then we can pull them hoses out. So we'll go ahead and we'll take this hose off the filter base real fast up here. Get that off of there. Oh. I have to hold that with a 5/8 line right here. There we go. That end was fairly tight. The other end wasn't that tight. So this is the feed line. So now I'll have to get up there and take them clamps off, and I'll have to get up higher and get the other end of that fuel line off, which I think that's the return side. So I'll go do all that. So we're up here on the front side of the motor now. We're going to replace that fuel line right there, which goes down to the little fuel pump here. Get some light on that. That's the fuel pump. And then there's a fuel line that goes up behind it to that filter base up there we got to replace. There's a bolt right there we got to get out, which is behind the oil filter. So I have to get some different configurations of swivels and stuff to get that out. And then I'm going to have to take this fuel filter off up here because the line runs right behind it into that filter base. So I'm going to get a filter wrench and get all that off and get this bolt out and get that fuel line out. Well, I got all the fuel lines out. They're all laying right there. Got the fuel filters off of it. Got the numbers off the fuel filters. Got the bottom radiator hose that you can see is pretty bad shape. And got some antifreeze all over the place, but a lot of it was already drained out because of this hose being so bad. And I got the other hose that goes between two steel lines. I got that hose. You can see the mice and squirrels and stuff chewed it in half. So I've got all the hoses I need that we need to get, and I got the filter numbers, so we'll get all that today, and then this evening we'll try to get it all put back together and see if maybe it'll start. So we're gonna go work on that pond now. Dad's strength's here now, so we're gonna go load up the dozer and go work on that pond, and we'll be back later. So last night, after working on the pond all day, we got back kind of late. We didn't really do a whole lot of anything, so we didn't make any videos. So what we did do last night was we did swap all the fittings out on the new fuel lines. So we're going to go ahead and get these put back on this morning before we go start working on the pond, because it is a little cold out this morning, so we're going to let it warm up just a little. We do have all new fuel filters. We have a new bottom radiator hose. We have this little random hose that goes between steel line on the water pump, and it goes to something else. I can't see up there. Just a crossover tube, basically. And we got us a full case of coolant. So we've got everything we need right now to put it back together to see if it'll run. So let's get it all thrown back together, and maybe sometime today, if not today, tomorrow morning, we will see if it'll run. So we are going to pop the valve cover off and make sure the rack's not stuck. Just be real simple to do it right now. Hell, that top hood panel's already not fastened, so it's just sitting up there. So won't take much at all. So we're going to get started. So we got all our fuel lines ran. All we got to do is hook them up here. And that's the last of it. Got that one a little cross-threaded. There we go. Get those tightened up, and the fuel system is done. Okay, fuel lines are back on. We got that one coolant hose replaced up there. That one was a real bear. We had to take a pry bar and pry that steel line over, slide that all the way on that steel line, and slide it back. Wasn't fun, but Dad and I got it. So we're gonna run to town now. We're gonna get this other coolant line from Napa that I had ordered, because we discovered that this is going to be a little too stiff, and this is actually a fuel filler neck, so we're not going to use that. We're going to go get the other one that I ordered that's really flexible to get it put in there. So we'll go get that and we'll get it put on. So we got all our coolant lines back on. Now we're up on top, and we're going to pull the valve cover off the 371 Detroit to make sure that the rack's not stuck. So if the rack's stuck, or if it sticks, it will run away with itself. So I'm going to get this valve cover off. Hopefully, should probably brought a hammer with me and tap it. There we go. Let's see what's in here. Oh, she's clean. It's nice in there. So everything seems to move freely. Nothing's stuck. So as you give it throttle, it moves. This is your throttle. It moves here, and then it changes the throttle at each injector. And usually what happens, if these sit for a really long time, this gets stuck, and it'll cause it to run away with itself. So, from what I see, everything looks good in here, and I will say this is probably one of the cleanest Detroits I have ever had the valve cover off of. Very clean in here. I'm very surprised. Usually they're full of sludge and everything else. So, okay, I think we're good. We'll throw the valve cover back on and get some clean fuel in it and see if we can get it running. Now we're going to go ahead and drain the fuel because I stuck the tank and it's just as nasty as the fuel that came out of the filters. So I got me a piece of 2-inch PVC pipe that I had from my trommel. Went and got it from out back. And without taking a bath, I think I can drain this fuel out. We'll see what happens. There's a lot of water in there, I think. What the hell is this? The world's longest plug? There we go. Hopefully the drain pan holds it all. Should probably get the plug out of the pan. So, 50 gallon of fuel later, we finally got it all drained out. There's some nasty stuff that came out of there. It was a good thing we drained it. It probably ran on it, but just better off just to start out fresh. So, we're going to get this all cleaned up and in the tote tank, and then I'll get some fresh fuel in it. Now we have fresh fuel in it. We've bled everything. To bleed it, all we done was we took these plugs out of the filter bases right here, and then I made this fitting. I actually made this fitting for testing our fuel tanks in the back of the trucks. So when I have a crack in one, I thread this in there, put a pressure regulator on, and I can check to make sure there's no more cracks after I weld them up. So I just made this, threaded it in the filler neck of the fuel tank, and then we just put a little air to it and force the fuel through the lines. So now I got the battery cables all put back on, and I think we are ready to try to start it. We got a block of wood to throw over the intake in case just by chance it runs away from itself, but it shouldn't because we checked the rack and it's all good. So let's try to start it now. So now we're going to try to start it. We had to cut the throttle cable because it's not in the best of shape. So we're just going to do it manually. Okay, Dad, try it, see what happens. Oh. A little bit of starting fluid.
Leaking air out of the filter.
Is it?
Maybe.
Well, let me give it a...
Looks like it's leaking a little around the filter base, but
It tried, I just don't think it's primed quite yet. Might have tried priming it again. Okay, Dad, try it. was expected. But it runs good. I think it runs pretty good. So, that was successful. But now we got to figure out where we got the air leaks at. The only thing the air pressure does on this is control the clutches and the undercarriage for steering. So, but at least the air compressor's pumping air. Did it pump all the way up?
It had about 55 pounds.
Okay. And we had,
About 40 pounds oil pressure.
so we had good oil pressure. Temperature gauge move?
No.
Probably not. I didn't think we ran it that long. So, sweet. Now we can move on with this project. So if you like this episode of Dirt Green Steel, give me a like and subscribe. Greatly appreciate it, and I will see you all in the next one.